Look, here's the thing. You could be smart, funny, good-looking, and still push people away without even realizing it. I'm talking about those tiny, everyday habits that slowly kill attraction in relationships. The kind of stuff nobody tells you about because, honestly, most people don't even notice they're doing it. But psychology does. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which 10 subtle behaviors are sabotaging your relationships, and more importantly, how to stop them. So if you've ever felt like people lose interest over time, or you can't figure out why things fizzle out, stick around. Because habit number 7, it's the one almost everyone does, and it's a total attraction killer. Let's dive in. Okay, so first things first, this isn't about being perfect. Nobody is. And attraction isn't just about looks or charisma, it's way deeper than that. What psychology shows us is that attraction in relationships is built on emotional safety, respect, and consistency. And when we develop certain habits, even small ones, we chip away at those foundations without meaning to. The tricky part? These habits feel normal to us. We're not trying to be unattractive, we're just being ourselves, right? But here's the reality. Some of those normal behaviors are actually red flags to the people we're dating or in relationships with. So in this video, we're going to walk through 10 of the most common subtle habits that make you less attractive in relationships, backed by psychology. And I'll explain why they hurt and what you can do instead. And hey, real quick, if you're new here, welcome to InnerCompass. This is where we break down relationship psychology in a way that actually makes sense. So if that sounds good, go ahead and subscribe. You'll thank me later. All right, let's get into it. Habit number 1, over-explaining yourself constantly. Okay, so this one's sneaky. You know when you feel like you have to justify every little thing you do? Like, sorry, I didn't text back right away, I was in a meeting and then my phone died and then I had to grab lunch and yeah, that. Here's what's happening psychologically. When you over-explain, you're signaling insecurity and a lack of confidence. It's like you're asking for permission to exist. And look, I get it. You don't want to seem rude or careless, but constantly defending your actions makes the other person feel like they have to parent you. Or worse, like you don't trust them to understand you. Attraction thrives on confidence and emotional independence. When you over-explain, you're unconsciously putting yourself in a lower position. You're saying, I need you to approve of me. And that kills attraction fast. What to do instead? Keep it simple. Hey, sorry for the late reply. Got caught up. How's your day? That's it. You don't owe anyone a dissertation on your schedule. Trust that the other person respects you. And if they don't, that's a them problem, not a you problem. Habit number 2, being overly available. All right, this one's tough because we're taught that being available equals being caring. But here's the thing, availability without boundaries doesn't show love, it shows desperation. When you drop everything the second someone texts, cancel plans to accommodate them, or never have your own life going on, you're not being sweet, you're being predictable. And predictability? It's the enemy of attraction. Psychology calls this the scarcity principle. We value things more when they're not always available. I'm not saying play games or ignore people. That's toxic. But I am saying that having your own life, your own hobbies, your own friends, that makes you more attractive. Why? Because it shows you're a whole person. You're not waiting around for someone to complete you. You're already complete. And that independence? That's magnetic. What to do instead? Have plans. Have passions. Have a life that doesn't revolve around one person. When you do show up, you'll show up as your best self, not as someone who's been sitting by the phone waiting. Now, before we keep going, habit number 7 is the one that surprised me the most when I researched this. It's something we do to try to increase attraction, but it actually does the opposite. I'll get to that in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about habit number 3. Habit number 3. Complaining constantly. Look, we all need to vent sometimes. That's healthy. But if every conversation turns into a complaint session about your job, your friends, your day, the weather, the traffic. You're draining the energy out of the relationship. Here's what psychology tells us. Negativity is contagious. When you're around someone who complains all the time, your brain starts associating them with negative feelings. Even if they're not complaining about you, your nervous system picks up on that stress. And over time, you start to avoid them. Not because you don't care, but because being around them feels exhausting. Attraction needs positive energy to survive. It needs laughter, lightness, hope. When all you bring is heaviness, people start to pull away, even if they love you. What to do instead? Practice the 80-20 rule. 80% of your conversations should be neutral to positive. Save the venting for the 20%. And when you do vent, follow it up with something you're grateful for or something that made you smile. It's not about being fake. It's about being balanced. And balance? That's attractive. Habit number 4, seeking constant reassurance. Okay, real talk. If you're constantly asking, "Do you still love me?" Or, "Are we okay?" Or, "Did I do something wrong?" You're not being cute. You're being exhausting. I know that sounds harsh, but here's the psychology. Constant reassurance seeking signals anxious attachment. And while that's not your fault, it usually comes from past experiences. It does put a huge emotional burden on your partner. Every time you ask for reassurance, you're essentially saying, "I don't trust you," or "I don't trust us." And that erodes the foundation of the relationship. Attraction is built on security and trust. When someone has to constantly prove their feelings to you, it stops feeling like love and starts feeling like a job. What to do instead? Work on building self-soothing skills. When the anxiety hits, pause. Ask yourself, is there actual evidence that something's wrong? Or is this just my fear talking? Journal it out. Talk to a therapist. Build your own emotional security so you're not outsourcing it to your partner 24/7. Because here's the truth. The more secure you feel in yourself, the more attractive you become. Habit number 5. Making everything about you. This one's subtle, but it's so common. You know when someone's telling you a story, and before they even finish, you jump in with, "Oh my God, that happened to me too. Let me tell you about..." Yeah, that. It's called conversational narcissism, and it's one of the fastest ways to make someone feel unseen. Here's what's happening. When you constantly redirect the conversation back to yourself, you're signaling that you're not really interested in them. You're just waiting for your turn to talk. And psychology is clear on this. Feeling heard and valued is one of the core needs in relationships. When that need isn't met, attraction dies. What to do instead? Practice active listening. When someone shares something, ask a follow-up question before you share your own story. Wait, how did that make you feel? Or, what happened next? Let them finish. Let them feel seen. Then you can share your experience, but frame it as connection, not competition. Because here's the thing. People don't fall in love with the best storyteller. They fall in love with the person who makes them feel heard. All right, we're halfway through, and I promised you habit number 7, the one that people do thinking it'll help their relationship, but it actually backfires hard. We're getting there. But first, let's talk about habit number 6, because this one's a silent relationship killer. Habit number 6, avoiding conflict at all costs. Okay, so you've probably heard that communication is key, right? But here's what nobody tells you. Avoiding conflict isn't the same as keeping the peace. When you say, "I'm fine," when you're not, or you let things slide to avoid an argument, you're not being easygoing, you're being dishonest. And over time, that dishonesty builds resentment. You start pulling away emotionally. You stop being yourself. And the other person? They can feel it, even if they can't name it. Psychology shows that healthy conflict is actually a sign of a strong relationship. It means you care enough to work through things. It means you're not just coexisting. You're actually building something together. When you avoid conflict, you're avoiding intimacy. And without intimacy, attraction fades. What to do instead? Learn to express your needs calmly and clearly. Hey, when you did X, I felt Y. Can we talk about it? That's not starting a fight. That's starting a conversation. Conflict doesn't have to be scary. It can be a tool for growth. And people who can handle conflict with maturity? That's incredibly attractive. Habit number 7. Trying too hard to impress. All right, here it is. Habit number 7. The one I promised you. And it's this. Trying too hard to impress. I'm talking about the person who name drops, brags about their job, constantly talks about their achievements, or tries to be the funniest, smartest, coolest person in the room. Here's the irony. The harder you try to impress someone, the less impressive you become. Why? Because psychology tells us that authentic confidence is attractive. And authentic confidence doesn't need to prove itself. It just is. When you're constantly performing, you're signaling insecurity. You're saying, I don't think I'm enough as I am, so let me show you all these external things to make up for it. And that's exhausting to be around. It feels fake. It feels desperate. What to do instead? Just be yourself. I know that sounds cliché, but it's true. Share your interests without needing validation. Ask questions. Be curious about them instead of trying to dazzle them. Because the truth is, people aren't attracted to perfection. They're attracted to realness. And the moment you stop trying so hard, you become infinitely more magnetic. Habit number 8. Being passive-aggressive. Okay, this one's toxic, and we need to call it out. Passive aggression is when you're upset, but instead of saying it directly, you punish the other person with silence, sarcasm, or the classic "I'm fine." And look, I get it. Direct communication is hard, but passive aggression? It's emotional manipulation, and it destroys trust. Psychology shows that passive-aggressive behavior creates anxiety and confusion in relationships. The other person never knows where they stand. They're walking on eggshells, and eventually, they leave. What to do instead? Say what you mean. I'm upset because, or I need some space right now, but we can talk later. Direct doesn't mean aggressive. It means honest. And honesty? That's the foundation of attraction. Habit number 9. Comparing them to others. This one's brutal. Comparing your partner, or the person you're dating, to an ex, a friend's partner, or some idealized version you saw online. My ex used to do this for me. Why can't you be more like? Other couples seem so happy. Every time you do this, you're telling them you're not enough. And psychology is clear. Comparison kills connection. It makes the other person feel inadequate, defensive, and resentful. Attraction can't survive in an environment where someone feels like they're constantly being measured against someone else. What to do instead? Focus on what is there, not what's missing. Appreciate the unique things they bring to the table. And if you genuinely feel like they're not right for you, that's okay. But don't stay and make them feel small. That's not fair to anyone. Habit number 10. Neglecting yourself. All right, last one. And this might be the most important. Neglecting yourself to focus entirely on the relationship. You stop seeing your friends. You stop doing your hobbies. You stop taking care of your body, your mental health, your goals. Everything becomes about them. And here's the thing. That might feel romantic at first, but over time, it becomes suffocating. Psychology shows that self-neglect leads to codependency. And codependency isn't love. It's fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of not being enough. And that fear, it's the opposite of attractive. What to do instead? Keep investing in yourself. Go to the gym. See your friends. Pursue your passions. Be a whole person with someone, not for someone. Because the most attractive thing you can be in a relationship is someone who doesn't need the other person to be happy, but chooses to share their happiness with them. Okay, so we just covered 10 subtle habits that kill attraction in relationships. And look, if you recognized yourself in a few of these, that's okay. We all do some of this stuff. The point isn't to beat yourself up. The point is to become aware. Because once you're aware, you can change. And here's the beautiful part. When you start letting go of these habits, you don't just become more attractive to others. You become more attractive to yourself. You start showing up as the person you actually want to be. So here's what I want you to do. Pick one habit from this list. Just one. And commit to working on it this week. Maybe it's setting a boundary. Maybe it's practicing active listening. Maybe it's just being a little more honest about how you feel. Start small. Be patient with yourself. And watch how things shift. Alright, if this video helped you, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to InnerCompass. We're building a community of people who want healthier, more secure relationships, and I'd love for you to be part of it. And hey, drop a comment and let me know. Which habit hit home for you? Or is there one I missed? I read every single comment, and I love hearing from you. Also, if you want to keep going, I've got another video right here on attachment styles in relationships. It's going to blow your mind. Click that, and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself. And remember, you've got this.